Hello everyone, I'm Rahul Nair, a PGP 1719 student at IIM Trichy. In this video, I'll be talking about GST implementation, which was a major tax reform that happened in 2017. Before we move into GST, let us understand how the pre-GST tax regime in India worked. So, the Indian government levied multiple taxes like customs duty, sales tax, octroi, entry taxes, etc. Some of them were levied by the central government, while some others came under the state list. Now, there was a very fundamental flaw in this taxation system, and it is called the cascading effect. So, basically, what this means is as the good moves across the supply chain, the good is being taxed multiple times, and taxes are being taxed again. So this is called double taxation or cascading effect. With the introduction of value added taxes, mod VAT, sen VAT, and other tax credit systems, this cascading effect was resolved to some extent. But since central government levied a separate set of taxes and state government levied another set of taxes, the tax credit from the central government system could not be applied on the state taxes. So even after the introduction of value added taxes and other tax credit schemes like sen VAT and mod VAT, this particular system wasn't very efficient. Secondly, the indirect tax system in India followed a production based tax system. So basically, the producing states got to tax on that particular good. So if a particular good is being produced in Tamil Nadu, then Tamil Nadu gets the tax revenue from the sale of the good. The issue with this particular system was highly populous states and underdeveloped states like Bihar, which consumed goods heavily, they did not get enough tax revenues. So GST provides a solution to both these issues, that is the cascading effect as well as the vicious cycle of the underdeveloped states not getting enough tax revenues through the implementation of GST. So basically, the proposed GST is expected to streamline the indirect tax regime. It contains all indirect taxes levied on goods, including central and state level taxes. Through an efficient tax credit mechanism, this tax is collected on value added on the goods at each stage of sale and sale or purchase in the supply chain. So it will not only replace the central indirect taxes but also the state levied indirect taxes. Now let us look at some of the benefits of GST implementation and how it will be a value addition for the economic growth of India. Previously, we used to have multiple taxes, their own tax collection agencies, brackets, compliance requirements, etc. This leads to a huge amount of paperwork. With a completely online system, GST solves this problem. Businesses can save a lot on transaction costs. As a result, they can pass on this benefit to the end consumer, and hence GST implementation is leading to a reduction in prices. Secondly, GST will solve the problem of double taxation or cascading effect through an efficient tax credit system. Most of the businesses in India fall under the unorganized or informal sector. Simply put, they are not following the legal requirements for doing businesses in India. This means low tax compliance. Under GST, the suppliers as well as buyers won't allow an understatement because then they would lose their tax credit. So a self-enforcing mechanism is created. The impact is not limited to higher compliance. The actual tax collection might also increase. Finally, we can see an increased efficiency in logistics. So basically, the logistic industry in India has to maintain multiple warehouses across India to avoid the current central sales tax and state entry taxes on interstate movement. Most of the times, these warehouses were forced to operate below their capacity, thus increasing their operating costs. When GST goes live, these restrictions on interstate movement will be lessened, and the logistics sector might start consolidating warehouses across the country. So, as an outcome of GST, warehouse operators and e commerce players have already shown interest in setting up their warehouses at strategic locations like Nagpur, which is the 0 mile city of India, instead of every other city on their delivery route. So, to conclude, we'll look at some of the key benefits of GST implementation. So, this taxation system will be simple and lean. GST system will unite the entire Indian market, which may lead to lower business costs. It will facilitate seamless movement of goods across states. It will reduce transaction costs. It will be beneficial for export oriented businesses as it is not applied for goods services that are exported out of India. It is expected that the lower tax burden could translate into lower prices on goods for consumers. All suppliers, manufacturers, wholesalers, and retailers would be able to recover GST incurred on input costs as tax credits, which reduces the cost of doing business. GST is expected to bring more transparency and better compliance. The implementation of GST will reduce the number of tax departments that may lead to less corruption. Since more business entities are expected to come under the GST system, therefore widening the taxation base, leading to better and more tax revenue collections. Also, the companies which are in the unorganized sector will come under the tax regime, thereby bringing a more organized system. Thank you.